Hello and welcome to a very special Blu-ray update video, a brief overview, if you will, of a new Eureka Masters of Cinema release that is highly anticipated for me, not only because it's just another silent film release in the collection, which in and of itself is a huge thing for me because that's really what started my whole kind of love affair with the entire collection, and to be honest with you, I think the silent film releases from the beginning of the MOC line and what really got me into silent film. And that's now one of the, it's been for many years a huge part of my film loving life is silent cinema in all forms. I just can't get enough of it. And so it's always exciting when it feels like going back to the roots for me is when Eureka releases a new silent film on Blu-ray. But this is particularly exciting because it is a sequel to what I still think is, where did I put it here, for easy access, I still think that this release, which only came out, was it the end of last year? I can't remember when it was now. In like the fourth quarter, as they say, of 2024, I believe. Spine number 294 in the collection, Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1927. So when this thing first came out, I did look in the booklet and it said that there'd be a volume two. So it kind of had spoiled the, well, not spoiled anything, but it confirmed that there was going to be a second release. And with it being spine number 294, and I believe the Louis Feuillet box set was 296 through 299, there was a little gap there for spine number 295, and that gap has now finally been filled. We'll put this on the shelf here because, well, it's time to pull out and show the second volume, Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1928. Ah, man, I cannot wait to dive into this one. Very, very exciting. So I should say, before we get to this shiny new, and it almost is kind of shiny, there's a bit of kind of very subtle spot gloss on the title there. Yeah, I don't know if you can kind of tell there. It's a really nice subtle effect. I don't wonder if the 1927 version has the same thing. It does. Nice. It's very subtle, but very, very nicely done. But this one here, this is, one of my all-time favorite home video releases of all time. Forget Blu-ray. Forget DVD, VHS, Laserdisc, whatever you want to do, any kind of format you can think of. UMD, right? Those are the PSP format. One of my favorites, and one of the best, I think, home video releases I've ever owned. And part of it is because it is such a small package and it contains so much. Of course, there are box sets with like 30 films that really eclipse this in terms of the amount of quality and stuff. But just how compact this thing is. It's a 2-disc Blu-ray set. I love the design, and I just love the layout and everything. And I've done videos on this, and I feel like I've kind of run this release into the ground in terms of videos, even though I haven't posted a lot of the stuff that I filmed for this. I'm currently still kind of doing an in-depth review of this. I've filmed about 2.5 hours worth of material of me talking about everything on this set. And when I mean everything, I mean look at the back cover there. Look at all the special features content listed, down here. So I've been reviewing all the extras, all of the short films included from 1927 and earlier. And I've done about half the set, and it's about 2.5 hours. So I don't know whether like a lot of trimming or what, but that's kind of in the works. I've done 2 videos about this release already and kind of sung its praises. The extras, the audio commentaries from David Kalatz and just the wealth of extras. The audio interview with Stan Laurel on this is absolutely phenomenal. So it's just, and also getting to see the evolution of these guys from looking at like the first silent film they ever appeared in together, even though they're not playing Laurel and Hardy as you know them. This is back in like 1920, and they're just kind of bit part players or whatever. Then, well, I think the first one is a kind of a Stan Laurel film from my memory, and Oliver Hardy plays a kind of just a throwaway kind of side character. So you get to see them kind of start to work together more, and that's what I love about the 1927 set. So I don't think I'll have the same experience with this set in terms of just seeing the evolution of them becoming this duo. Because by the time you pick up in 1928, I would say that they are kind of now firmly working together and kind of honing their style and stuff. But that in and of itself is going to be exciting too, to see them kind of fully, begin to build upon everything that had been kind of coming together in 1927, specifically that year where they're working together more and more. It's just fun from a kind of retrospective, viewpoint. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan. Bear with me. Well, I'm going somewhere with this. And yeah, I enjoy some of the early Pink Floyd stuff, but mainly as a kind of evolutionary look at a band kind of really figuring out who they are. And so you get to Metal, and it's like, man, there's some great stuff on Metal. But that's really them kind of going, right, now we kind of know we can do it, let's do it properly. And what happened then? Dark Side of the fucking Moon. So I feel like 1928 is probably going to be a really, and I think in the booklet for the 1927 set, Paul Merton had talked about how like the ones coming up in the next volume are really great. So there's kind of high praise on the films in this set already. So here it is again. This is spine number 295. We now have the complete I didn't even think about that. I now have the complete 300 first spines in this entire collection, which is really surreal actually. Now that I think about it, going back to like, when I first had the pipe dream of collecting the first 100 spines in the collection, and then it became, well, can I get to 150? And then for years there were gaps and everything, and it was I think it was right before COVID maybe, where I just put in the mega order of like 25 releases, and I completed everything, and that was a really kind of exciting moment. Anyway, that's kind of beside the point. Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1928. I'm not sure if there's some crossover here into sound film or not. Obviously, sound was kind of coming around at 27, 28, 29, and you get kind of the films that have talkie versions and silent versions. So I don't know. I'm sure I'll find out, and that'll be covered regardless, and kind of the wealth of special features. I mean, this one again has that's just an insane amount of supplements. And like I say, the first volume, 1927, has this amazing audio interview with Stan Laurel. It's like over an hour long, I think. There's another one as well. There's one, I think the main one is like a week after Oliver Hardy died, but it's just like this amazing material. You just can't believe that you're hearing it, So I feel like this doesn't have that, so it can't live up to kind of the greatness of that 1927 set, where you see the evolution of them coming together and it's starting to click and it's starting to work and everything, and you don't have that amazing audio interview with Stan Laurel. What this has, which I was quite surprised by, I don't know why they haven't really been kind of touting it more, because I feel like it's quite an asset to this release. Eureka put together a feature-length documentary that is on the second disc of this release. Now, it's by, I believe, David Cairns and Fiona Watson, if I got that right. Let me check on the back of the cover here. There's just so many special features, hard for me to find. Yeah, new feature-length documentary by David Cairns and Fiona Watson. Now, they've worked together on a number of things on previous, in recent memory, silent film releases for Eureka. I'm pretty sure they put together a piece for The Cat and the Canary, and then for Pandora's Box, and I really enjoyed the presentation of those pieces. And I wonder if it's going to be more like that, but spread out feature length. I know it's an hour and 16 minutes long. It's called United We Fall, and I wonder if they'll do the same kind of thing they did in those previous featurettes, where they essentially had like actors playing like historical figures in film and doing the voices for some of the kind of quotes and stuff. I enjoyed that kind of the playing around with what is a featurette, what is a documentary. Let's try something different with it. I really like those pieces that they did. So I wonder if that will be incorporated into this in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, but feature-length documentary, that's incredible. There's a couple of other different interviews on here. There's one with a man who wrote a book about Laurel and Hardy called From the 40s Forward, and that is a tribute to Robert Youngson and his importance to the career of Laurel and Hardy. There's a new interview with Neil Brand, who is a silent film accompanist. He provides accompaniment, and then you've got audio commentaries on all of the films, which I haven't even got to yet. So we have, and I'll kind of read from the back and just show you the nice cover. I like how the covers match as well. There's kind of a synchronicity there. It's very pleasing to someone like me who likes that kind of, the symmetry between releases in a collection. And in this case, kind of like a 2-volume kind of 1-2 punch. So the films we have, and they're all from 2K Restorations by Black Hawk Films. Leave 'Em Laughing, The Finishing Touch, From Soup to Nuts, Your Darn Tootin', Their Purple Moment. That's an interesting one. Their Purple Moment. Should Married Men Go Home? Interesting question. Early to Bed, Two Tars, Habeas Corpus, and We Fall Down, as in We FAW Down. Scores by a variety of silent film composers. There's commentaries in every single film. Some from David Kalat. Awesome. I think he's an asset to anything he does. He's just one of my favorite guys to hear talk about films, specifically silent films. And then there's commentaries with Patrick Vasey. I liked his stuff on the previous set as well. And then finally, Chris Seguin and Kip Harness, author of The Art of Laurel and Hardy, Graceful Calamity in the Films. Then there's commentaries by Glenn Mitchell, and then some commentaries by Neil Brand. So there's quite a lot of contributors to this release when it comes to the commentaries. There's an alternate score on The Finishing Touch. The interviews I mentioned, there's a surviving fragment of a Charlie Chase 2-reeler featuring Laurel and Hardy with optional audio commentary as well on top of that. I mean, Jesus Christ. They went all out with this one. And then there's Super 8 kind of cut down versions of a number of the films. Let 'Em Rip, Out of Step, The Car Wreckers, and A Right Mess. And then finally, I think this is about 25 minutes in length as well, rarely seen home movie footage, Stan Laurel's home movies. There's some still galleries. I believe there's a couple of trailers on there as well. I did kind of have a look through the discs, and that's not even listed on the back here as far as I can see. Yeah, and then you have the booklet. But let's just take a little look here. There's no need to get the chair out and go down and go super in depth. You can kind of see a lot of the Blu-ray here from the chair, from my chair, I should say, rather than the presentation chair. So, man, I can't wait to kind of just dive in and go through everything. It's very exciting for me. And there we go there. Very nice image for the front cover. I like that one a lot. And all the same information is on the back. I like how it has a list of all the directors, actually. That's pretty cool. So you have 10 silent shorts with Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. Directors Clyde Bruckman, Emmett J. Flynn, Fred L. Goyle. I forgot to say that guy's name. That was kind of a pet peeve of mine. Fred L. Goyle? Goule? Man, there's nothing I really... Well, there's a lot of things I hate more than this, but... there's not a lot that really bugs me more than not knowing how to correctly pronounce someone's name. Edgar Kennedy, Leo McCary, and James Parrott. So on the inside, we have the booklet, as I kind of mentioned, same as the 1927 release, and we'll get to that in just a second here. There's the first disc and the cover of the booklet. And yeah, and on the inside you get some nice imagery there. And I did like I had to flick through the stills galleries as well, and it's really interesting to see a lot of those kind of production stills that they put together for films and stuff. It's just kind of fun to, I don't know, see how they would stage production images and things. So there's a little bit of a look there at the inside cover, very awkwardly, but with the disc tray I'm trying to get you a decent look. There you go. That's pretty much it. We'll have a quick look at the booklet. I'll tell you what's in there, because this is quite a meaty booklet as well compared to regular Eureka releases, which are usually around, I think, 16 pages long or something. This one is 35 pages long. So you do get at the very beginning, right up front, notes on Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1928 by Paul Merton. So the comedian, British comedian, goes through every single film and has notes, and there's images from each film. Very, very nice. I really enjoyed his thoughts and contributions to the first booklet. So that's not all. You get two other essays. The first one is Anatomy of a Joke, The Evolution of Laurel and Hardy by Imogen Sarah Smith. And then the second essay is Laurel and Hardy, Hal Roach and the Hal Roach Studios by Sheldon Hall. It's, it's just like, it's that old saying, film school in a box, like the amount of like material that you get in a set like this is just, it's cinema crack. As I said to someone recently, that this stuff is just it's really special. Then you get restoration notes on all of the films by Sergei Bromberg. Sergey, not sure. But he is. I mean, I certainly know who he is. He's a very notable figure in the the realm and the world of silent film restorations and preservation. And yeah, it's nice to get kind of restoration notes on each film. Credits at the end. It's, yeah, man, just at a glance, this thing does look pretty damn great. I don't think it will fully live up to how much I loved and adored the 1927 set, but that is a hard act to follow. So Laurel and Hardy, 1928, The Silent Years. I think I read somewhere that the reason these sets are coming out, and they were also American counterparts. I think Lobster's the company who worked on the restoration. Oh, what's the Flicker Alley? Did Flicker Alley release them? I think. But looking at the again, just the wealth of extras on this, you're pretty safe to grab this one, I would say. Especially if you're in the UK, it's a no-brainer. But someone did ask me about kind of what's the differences between the two sets. I think the restorations are pretty much identical, but I think obviously the extras are somewhat different. And all the commentaries on this are new, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, all new commentaries. Again, everything is new. All the extras are, apart from, I'm assuming, maybe the Super 8 cut downs and Stan Laurel's home movies. So there's a lot of exclusive extras on this, including the booklet. I mean, it's just stacked. This thing is, yeah, it's going to take a while to go through all of this, that's for sure. But I think I read that the reason these were coming out now is something to do with the films going into public domain. And I wonder if that will continue, because I would really love to see some of their early, sound films get restored and get similar releases to this. But seeing as this is very much branded as Laurel and Hardy, the Silent Years, perhaps that's just what it is. Just that, and that's fine by me. A 2-volume, again, 1-2 punch that collects this incredible kind of, period of origin for, one of the greatest duos of all time. Yeah, I just think that this makes such a great matching set, and I guess you would put it the other way around if you wanted to go chronologically, so to speak, from left to right. But yeah, man. This is just, it's cinema crack. What can I tell you? Now, there were also 15 short films on the first release, whereas there are 10 short films on this one. So I think the feature-length documentary more than makes up for that. Man, I even love how it looks, just, with the spines and everything. Let's see if I can kind of fool the focus somewhat, and just so you can see the, come on, there you go. Yeah, it's really nice. Really, really nice. Is that upside down? No. There we go. Awesome. So there we go. That is an amazing collection of, really important films in like comedy history. I would even say film history, period. I just, yeah, man, just absolutely thrilled, and I'm really excited to get through this one and then come back to you hopefully at some point with some final thoughts. But yeah, I could just sit here and just, just look at these things, I even love how just like the symmetry continues to the back with the 3 images on the top from some of the films, like really nice attention to detail in all aspects. The discs, the booklet, the packaging, it's great stuff. So I'll leave it there and stop gushing, especially before I've really gotten into it. But, I feel like I'm in good hands after this one. This one is going to be a great ride, I think. So, but yeah, this what I kind of grew up with Laurel and Hardy were the sound films, and I had to go and look, and I think one of the ones, was the crossover period where they did a silent version and a sound version. So I would love to see those in just high definition in general. And it feels like this is long overdue as well, that Laurel and Hardy in high definition. I know there's been a few different Blu-ray sets of some of their feature films and things, but it seems like there's middling reviews on those. So I would love to see this continue from Eureka, but if it doesn't, I think these are well worth celebrating, well worth owning, and well worth enjoying. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.